Hey everybody, this is Christine DeGraff with another episode of TNT Bootcamp, and my lovely co-host is here, Ronnie Bincer. Hey Ronnie.
I'm the lovely co-host.
You have now become the lovely co-host.
Okay,
Yes.
but I think you're more lovely than I. But thanks for introducing me.
Oh, you're welcome. And we're going to get right into this today because we have 3 guests today, and it's only a 40-minute show. We are talking to the creators of the social warfare plugin. We can't get it out of them which one is the brain behind it. They said all 3 of them are. These are some of my favorite people on Google+, and I think a lot of you already know them. So without further ado, let me introduce. We'll start with Dustin Stout.
Hello.
Hey Dustin, tell everybody about yourself a little bit.
Oh, you know me. I'm just a random social guy that loves all things media and visual and digital marketing, branding. I'm interested in a lot of things, mostly oriented around social media and branding. I'm a CMO for Wheel Media, a digital marketing firm based out of New York. I work with a couple of great guys called Chris Howes and Wade Harmon. And then when I have free time, which that mythological creature that we all pretend to have, I work with these awesome guys building social warfare, which is really selfishly just something that I wanted for myself, and I think Nick and Jason could also agree they wanted it for themselves because they were already working on similar ideas. But we came together with this idea of solving our own problems, sort of scratching our own itch. And here we are today.
That's usually how it happens. It's actually how Circloscope got started. Esham wanted, a way to add people to his circles. I joined because I wanted to improve it. So yeah, I guess that happens a lot.
Actually,
sure.
Can I interrupt for just a second? This is actually really funny too, because at almost the exact same times I had Dustin coming to me and asking for some help implementing some social media ideas about 1.5 years ago. This was like how it got started. And Jason was coming to me and asking me to help solve some issues that he was having. So then we started building this thing together. The 3 of us got our heads together. And a year goes down the road, and Dustin is telling the story. He's like, yeah, I came to Nick, and I had this idea, and he thought that he had come up with the ideas. And Jason's like, wait a minute, no, I had the ideas. And they didn't realize that were both bringing ideas at the same time, and that's how it all got meshed in together.
Cool.
It was really
and this is Nicholas Cardot. Hey, Nick.
Yes, I'm Nicholas Cardot. I'm the lead developer of the site, or of the plugin. I mean, so I do all the JavaScript and the PHP stuff that runs in the background that powers the thing.
Awesome. And last but not least, we have Jason T. Weiser.
Hey, Jason Weiser here. Weiser Sites LLC is my day job, and moonlight here with the Warfare plugins fellas. It's been it started out, I think, more as something we thought, well, this would be kind of cool. Let's try it and see what happens. And then, thanks to all of you, many who I see on the call here, as well as so many others, it actually turned into a business that was like, whoa, this is something more than something that we wanted. This is something that everybody's wanting, and the reviews and everything we're getting back on it. So we've had to kind of dial in and say, look, this is a real business. This is something that a lot of people are wanting and really grabbing up. So.
Well, I think maybe the first thing we should do is just give out exactly what it is. So who wants to start with that?
Okay, I will. But I'm going to lead over to Dustin. A lot of social share plugins exist out there, and the main goal for most of them is just to have something that looks nice and gets people to click on it. And so we like to think, Dustin has designed a lot of really neat visual styles. Right now, you can, between hover states and the shapes and stuff, there's over 75 different to choose from. But to be and as neat as that is, that's really only like the tip of an iceberg. What really makes our plugin really neat is because how you can customize those shares that people click on. For example, you set up that custom image that goes out onto Pinterest because, again, I'm not super active on all the social networks. I lean heavily on Dustin for that information. But the studies that he's done and that like Jeff C. has done and Peg Fitzpatrick show that if you use a tall image, it's way more effective than using a wide image, but wide images work way better on like Google Plus and stuff. So we give you the option so that whichever button gets clicked on from a user, they get the custom image for that platform, the custom titles and descriptions for that platform, and stuff like that. Because a lot of sharing on social media doesn't happen from the page itself. It happens out on Twitter or on Pinterest. Someone will repin it from the platform itself. And so what happens is a lot of content creators create their carefully craft a really good social media with an image for Twitter or for Google Plus, wherever, and it gets a lot of momentum because it's highly optimized. So then what? And then eventually that attention dies down, and that post basically dies. With our plugin, though, whenever a user clicks to share that icon, it's that highly optimized format that gets a lot of eyeballs, and it starts that whole process over again of getting more exposure for that content.
Yeah, and I'll jump in there because one of the things that really drove me to create the plugin was I realized that nobody cares more about my social shares than I do, right? So as content creators, we probably spend as much time crafting how the content is going to be shared as we do, you know, say on the headline or, you know, an important quote within the piece. So knowing that context is greater than content in many cases, I knew that I wanted to be able to customize how those shares looked. We know greatly that on Twitter, for instance, images get much higher engagement than just a standard headline and a link tweet. And on Pinterest, like Nick said, the taller images do better. So I wanted a way to customize those, to make sure that when somebody hits my share button on my blog post, that beautifully crafted share, that highly optimized share, was just right there for them. All they had to do was read it, make sure it was what they wanted, and then just hit share or hit pin or hit tweet. You know, no-brainer social sharing, and beautiful no-brainer social sharing.
And there's two types of people who share. I mean, there's probably a whole bunch more. This is just in my opinion, but there's two types of people who share stuff on social media. The one person says, "Oh, I really like this. This is pretty neat. I want to share this so other people can see it." And the other type is the people who are like feeding the content monster. You know, they're trying to get their social media active, and they're trying to make sure they have stuff for the audience. And by having that stuff already pre-filled out, number one, those content monster people are going to like it because it's doing all the work for them. And then the other people will see it and they'll be like, "Oh, this is really neat," and they'll like it even more. So,
like it says on the site, you know, it's you get people to share your content the way you want it to be shared. It's just really simple that way. You take the time. You wrote this incredible blog post, and you've put in everything. Nothing is worse than having somebody hit, you know, the Facebook share, having your featured image is a banner width, very narrow and wide, and it gets cropped off, and the best parts of your image are destroyed in Twitter and Facebook or Pinterest. So you get to optimize your information exactly the way that you want it. And my angle on this, really, as a developer side of it, was speed and performance. And so often we see these social shares that have to load all of these assets, CSS and JavaScript. And for those of you listening right now that don't know about all this stuff, just imagine the times you've loaded a page and it just takes forever for those, you know, Facebook, Twitter, Google, and they just think. You know, it's like an old Atari video game. You know, they're kind of blinking up there. You know, not ours. I mean, that's what's so great about social warfare is just bang, it's there, it's done. Because Nick's done an amazing job of being able to develop the plugin. When should we mention? Because how long is the show, Christine, Ronnie?
40 minutes.
40 minutes. So, you know, who wants to mention about? Don't we have an offer for anybody that's listening right now? Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and throw it out there for everybody that's listening right now. We want to give you guys all a chance. First of all, to say thank you so much for showing up. Get your questions going. We hope that this isn't just us sitting here talking amongst ourselves. We really want this to be interactive. We really want you guys to ask questions. You know, how can you use this? Are you here to support us because you just love Dustin's dimples, or are you here because you know you really want to learn a little bit more about social warfare? So I hope that you're, you know, if you are here to learn a little bit more about social warfare, you're here to support us. Coupon code is, I think Christine just posted it. The coupon code is TNTBootcamp, lowercase, but it's only going to be good until the end of the show because you guys took the time to show up. 50% off your first year of social warfare. That's the quick pitch, and I'll probably pitch it a couple more times as we move along.
Oh, the end of the show or the end of the day?
No, actually, I think Dustin set it up to expire tomorrow, so that way the people who catch the replay within the first day or two will still.
Otherwise, everybody would be leaving the show right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Shut up.
I want to screen share real quick and show people what the plugin looks like. That might be helpful if they haven't seen it yet. So let me do that. Let's see. I am going to, let's see. This is my blog, and I have it. And so it's this right here is the social warfare plugin. And as you can see, it is responsive. So it does adjust. Oh, my website's not responsive, or my screen isn't. There we go. It will stack and adjust based on your screen size and browser.
Actually, right now it doesn't respond when you dynamically change it. I'm gonna put some stuff in to do it, but it changes on all screen sizes on the page load. So if you make it really small and then you load the page from that state, because most people aren't changing the size of the screen
Right.
dynamically. But if you do it and then you load it, it'll be responsive to that size when it loads.
Okay. And as you can see, it gives you a count. Well, that's an optional feature, I believe. And this is the part that can be customized, so that for one thing, your Twitter handle will go out with your share and things like that. We'll talk a little bit in a minute about the analytics integration that comes with it.
Yeah, if I could say one quick thing about that again, from a bit of a obsessive designer, user interface and user experience is highly important to me. So when I designed those buttons, one of the pain points that I had visually was every social network's button looks different. If you go to use the native version of the share buttons, they all have a different look, a different feel, a different size, shape, and it looks kind of clunky. I really wanted everything to be seamless and have sort of a uniform aesthetic to it, without being completely different from the actual network. So you'll notice that the icons used are the authentic, up-to-date icons, which is something I'm known for being a bit of a Nazi about.
And you do have these in different color schemes and things like that. Yes.
Yeah, the colors are different. The colors are accurate. You can have the authentic colors of the buttons if you like. But that was very important for me to make it visually smooth, visually accurate, and sort of uniform, so that they're not all over the place looking clunky, like it was some sort of social quilt that was sewn together.
Also, there is an option. You don't have to have them at the top. I have mine at the top and the bottom. And part of another thing that the Warfare plugin has is you can embed very easily these click-to-tweet, different tips, and then that'll be tweeted as well.
So if you could highlight or pin what I've got up here, this is a question from Leela. She's asking if we already have a plugin, and a social sharing plugin, and we switch to using social warfares, what happens to the shares we have on older posts? Does it go to grab them somehow, or how does that work out?
They get lost in the abyss, never to be seen again. No, actually, what happens is the number of shares that any given web page on the web has is determined and counted by each network. So the number of tweets that a link has, Twitter is the one who keeps track of that. And so we access all of their APIs, Twitter and Google Plus and so on, and we simply ask them, how many shares does this URL have, this web page have? And we get those numbers directly from them. And when we get those numbers, we do cache the numbers, we store them, and we don't check every single time the page loads. We check for newer posts, it's once per hour and so on. And older posts, it gets a little bit longer than an hour. And with the cache numbers, too, that we pull, we can also use those things by storing the numbers in WordPress to sort posts by their popularity based on social shares. So we actually have a widget for that built into the plugin as well to show your most popular posts based on the number of shares it has.
Cool. And then there was another question related to the discount. Actually, a couple questions related to the discount. One was right here from Don, asking, it's an excellent discount. Is it good for multiple licenses? Is that an option, guys?
I think it is, and if it's not, contact me directly after the show and we'll make it good for multiple licenses.
And Dustin was saying that the discount is good on Mars and Venus as well as anywhere else on Earth.
As long as you have an internet connection, because the sales do use PayPal.
Yeah.
So if Mars has that connection, you're good.
Yes.
All right. Now Jeff C had a comment. Let me bring this one up. That something that he really liked. One of the best features for him is the ability to @mention people on Pinterest descriptions just like you can with custom tweet feature. Can you guys explain what the heck that means?
Yeah. So I love this from Jeff because I don't think I actually thought of this for use with Pinterest, but we know for a fact that the easiest way to get someone's attention is to mention them on Twitter or even on Pinterest or on Google Plus or any network. If you mention them, they're going to get a little notification. They're gonna know that you were talking about them or mentioning them or you said their name, and you'll get their attention. And you know, sometimes when you're writing a blog post that features someone, like recently I featured my buddy iSocialFans, Brian Fanzo, in an article that I wrote about Twitter chats. And you know, I wanted to make sure he knew that he was mentioned in the article, so I used his name in the share. So in those customized shares through Social Warfare, you can, you know, like we said, customize the tweet or the pin description, and you can @mention the users that you want to make sure they know about it. So very, very powerful feature in making sure that the right eyeballs see your social shares.
Fantastic. And then here's another comment from Don, another one. He says, I use click-to-tweets to break up the copy. There's several different color designs, and they reduce the need for adding additional graphics and photos, which is kind of neat. Now, what not only
let me jump in on that. Hang on a second, Ronnie. Let me jump in on that. That's another thing that's really great about this plugin has been featured and reviewed on a number of different, you know, top 10 social sharing plugins and whatnot, and compared against a couple other things. And one of the things that's so great about our plugin, really, if you go and you read all of those, right? We're not the free plugin. We are a premium plugin. You do pay for it. But we're on the lowest end of all the premium plugins. Some of the premium plugins out there are $84 a year, right? We're coming in at $24 a year, right? That's you get a lot of value. But what made me interrupt here was the click-to-tweet. That's a separate plugin, right? In most places, you can have click-to-tweet plugin, and then you install a second plugin, which is your, you know, share this or add this or some of the other ones out there. Not with Social Warfare. Here, we're bundled it together. We've bundled in a number of different features that you have to normally install 4 or 5 different plugins to do. You've got click-to-tweets. You've got all the custom all the custom posting information that we've been talking about and hitting hard. But we've also got a posts, you know, a popular posts feature, which is really fascinating for those of you that are, you know, always struggling with how do we count our most popular post? Do we say who's commented the most, you know, and by counting WordPress comments or all the different ways? Well, here you can say really what is the most popular based on social shares. We're still in the works on that a little bit. Nick's got a couple bugs to work out on that to make it really user-friendly, but it is there and it is able to share like that. The click-to-tweet, and then also we have what we're calling this the Frame Buster. Well, it was named after Snipply Buster, but it was a Frame Buster, which is really great because for some people out there, without getting too far into it, framing is where somebody hijacks your website and wraps their call to action around your website. Well, we've got a code in there that will rip that out so that if somebody tries to Snipply or Share2 or some of these other framing plugins, it strips all that framing away. So when somebody lands on your site, they think they're sharing this, you know, this other thing to get their call to action, but they're actually going to land on your call to action, which is great.
Well, and you know, I like that you have that as optional as well, because you know some people do like the Snipply and all of that. So it is good. I noticed you made that an option. Another couple features are the Bitly integration, which I think is great. You also have your own short link, I believe, if someone doesn't want to use Bitly, but just to make the links cleaner. And can you tell us about the Google Analytics integration?
Yes, that's one of my favorite things because, you know, as someone who does social media professionally, like that's what I do all day, every day, a lot of people want to know about ROI, return on investment. What is the return on investment in social? And a lot of us social media managers, we've learned to use Google Analytics to track that. So one of the things that I really wanted in Social Warfare was the ability to add UTM tracking. If you're an analytics junkie, you know exactly what UTM tracking is. But essentially, for those of you that don't know what UTM tracking is, it adds just a little snippet of code into the URL of your address, which allows Google Analytics to determine, you can customize it saying, you know, what was the source of the share, where was this shared at, what was the campaign, if you have a name of an overall campaign that you're doing. A lot of people use this for, say, AdWords campaigns. And then the medium, you know, which medium was it shared on? Was it shared on Twitter, Pinterest, Google+. So you can track all of this through UTM codes through your Google Analytics. We've also, in ours, we want to make sure that our users are seeing the ROI of social warfare. So in the campaign field, I believe, is that right, Nick? In the campaign field, it pre-populates campaign social warfare. So you know that this tweet was tweeted through social warfare, and the visitors came back to your website through social warfare. So you can go into Google Analytics, go into your campaigns. There's a section in there that probably requires its own tutorial, but you can see in your analytics through your campaigns how much traffic social warfare itself is driving to your site. And just a great way to show, ROI if you have, a manager to answer to, or you have a client to answer to, and you want to prove, look, here's the return we're getting on this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so not only can you see how much traffic you're getting from, say, Twitter, but you'll be able to see which portion of that Twitter traffic is coming as a direct result of things being shared off of your the social warfare icons. Also, right now the campaign is called Social Warfare. However, we've had a few requests for people who might want to customize the campaign name, so we'll be adding that probably this week. That should be an easy one to add, so you can put in whatever campaign name you would prefer to have in there.
Well, speaking of social warfare, Mel asked this question. Why do you call it social warfare? And that's your cue, Nicholas, for some visual aid, I think.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, for those of you who don't know, I'm a soldier in the United States Army. I was active duty for 4 years, infantry, and now I work with the Army Reserves in psychological operations. And the reason it was named social warfare, I wanted to name it that basically because I'm a soldier and I thought it sounded fun. I'm not a warmonger or anything like that. I was thinking more of like gamification and stuff like that. And a lot of times I tell folks when they ask this question, I tell them that I attribute a lot of my own personal business success to principles and things that I learned when I was in the military. And I believe that a lot of business and social media and any venture really requires a lot of the same elements that a soldier requires to be successful. Dedication, hard work, a good strategy, solid planning, good equipment, and so on. And so the whole concept was basically I wanted to carry on the way I had training that made me successful as a soldier and equipment that made me successful as a soldier, and we wanted to create information, plugins, equipment that would help people to be successful with business in that same way. People ask us, because of the concept of warfare, who's the enemy? Who is it we're trying to conquer? I don't believe that the enemy is the friends we make on social media. I don't think our enemy is our competitors or anything like that. If I had to pick one person as an enemy, I always tell people it's yesterday's version of myself, because every day we want to learn, we want to get better, we want to do better than we did the day before. So that's everything that we're trying to embody with the concept in that name, social warfare.
And Kenneth is saying he's buying just because you showed your gun.
And that might be a good time, because I see that there's a bunch of people that have popped in that caught it late that may not have heard that we do have that coupon code going. If you want to scroll back in the stream there, 50% off, and the coupon code is in there. Yeah, there you go. Christine's got it up on the, or Ronnie, somebody's got it on the screen. TNT Bootcamp, Warfare plugins. Try it out. There's also,
that actually would make it, what, $12 for the first year. Mm-hmm. Plus, you offer a money-back guarantee if someone is not fully satisfied. So I really don't think you have anything to lose by giving it a try. So that's warfareplugins.com. And I just wanted to mention that they do have an affiliate program as well. It's a pretty good one. It's 30% off. I have an affiliate code. I decided not to use it today because I really believe in this plugin. I believe in these guys, and I'd rather, just be able to tell you that straight up without having to add any disclaimers. So, so there you go. So
let me ask a user's question. When you get the plugin, what's the process for setting it up so you have different images for different, places that it's being posted at, or shared to, and then also don't you also have it set so you can basically preload it with some text, so if people want to take the standard copy that you're expecting them to use, they could, or they can modify it when they do the sharing, right?
Can you restate the very last part of your question? What was the very last sentence you said?
Do you have it set so that if someone clicks to tweet, for example, it's already got some of the text loaded in that you would want them to be tweeting, and they can make an edit to that, but by default you've already put something in there.
Yeah, but by default, it'll fall back to the way a normal Twitter button will work with a title and a link. And also, there's a global setting where you can add a Twitter username, so that it'll say via, at Ronnie Bincer or whatever. But then also on the actual post editor, which I think Dustin should be pulling up for us shortly, on the post editor, you can put something custom in there, because sometimes the title of the post isn't really an optimized call to action to get people to click on Twitter, and you could come up with something more creative that will get people to click through to that. And I think Dustin has that up now. So you can change from just having the title and a link to having what Dustin does, for example, is he'll craft a whole tweet on Twitter itself, attach an image to it, which will create a pic.twitter link that shows the image right on Twitter, and then he'll copy and paste that tweet and put that into the custom field, so that when people click on the Twitter, they're getting a tweet share that has an image in it. It has the optimized call to action to get people to click, and it's attention grabbing. And I think he's got the options pulled up. So Dustin, do you want to talk about those options?
Yeah, so real quick, it's very straightforward in here. We try to make it super simple for people to set up. The first tab you see here is display settings. You're going to choose where you want your buttons to display. We have location on post, so this is your blog posts. You can do above the content, below the content, both above and below, or none / manual placement. Then location on pages, static pages, same options. And then site-wide, this will apply to anything that doesn't consider itself a static page or a blog post. So you can determine that right from here. Would you like to get mentioned in your tweets? If you want your username to be added to the end of every tweet, you can put it in there.
You putting in Dustin Dimples?
Dustin Dimples, yes. I should totally make that Twitter account. But then we have you can turn specific social networks on or off. So if you're not a big LinkedIn fan, you can turn that off. If you're anti-Facebook, like a lot of our Google Plus friends, you can turn that off so that all people see are the Google Plus, Twitter, and Pinterest. And it will only share the networks that you want it to share. You can also turn on or off the total network shares. So each button will show how many times it's been shared on that network. You can turn that on or off. And same thing with, total shares, and then the individual network shares, you can turn those on or off. And then you can also create this is something a lot of people ask for, minimum number of shares required before showing counts. So if you wanted to, if you're afraid of having not enough shares, well, it looks like this is a bit different.
For those of you who are wondering what he's showing, that's the nobody else really sees this. So stuff here is always cattywampus because I'm always trying new things out, some of which work great and others of which I'm like, oh, I'm scrapping this idea, I'm going to work on something else. So that's why it's a weird theme and it's just laid out funny. That's why.
What was that word again? Catty what?
Cattywampus.
Okay. That's a new word of the day.
All right.
Yeah, so you can, if you don't want the total shares to show up until you've reached, say, 100 shares or 30 shares, you can customize that to show only when a certain number of shares is reached. And then lastly, you just decide what order you want them in. You want Pinterest first, you can put it first. You just drag and drop, save the changes. And then, of course, we've got our visual options, so you can pick the style of the buttons, which we just recently added, so you can see in real time the change. You can even change the color schemes here. Lots of fun stuff. You can pick a custom color if you have a certain branded color. Decimal places, do you want it to have 0 decimal? If you get into the thousands of shares, do you want it to have decimal places, 1 or 2? Total count format, all these sort of little options here. Floating share background color. Then we have your click to tweets. You can pick a theme for those. You pick your link shortening if you want your own bit.ly, or you want to use our own wfa.re shortener. It's pretty straightforward. Snipply Buster, simply on or off, and of course to register your plugin. That should actually be your first stop once you activate the plugin. And then system status. If you ever need support, which we're super obsessed with offering the best, quickest support that we possibly can. This is your system status page. Some helpful, frequently asked questions. We should probably throw that question about why social warfare in here. And some advanced usage for the advanced users.
It is very easy to use. I mean, it's just clicking the buttons to set it up.
So let me bring up a question from Marie. She says she's real new to this, and I think the basic concept behind the question is, what do you use a social plugin for? So she's saying, walk me through how this would enhance my blog.
Dustin, can you pull up the post editor?
Can I jump in there real quick?
Yeah.
Okay. So I've got it here. If somebody wants to blue box me or whatever. But so this is the back end of a post right here that you do, and so this is an answer to your question. And there was somebody else who asked, Doris. Also says, I'm pretty new to this. As a beginner, would this investment be wise for somebody like me who's just learning? I think it'd be fantastic for you. It's for beginners, advanced, and all levels. But so basically, you get to upload your social media image. You get social media title that you can put in here, and your descriptions. These are all on the back end, so that you custom create what all this information says. So that on the front side, when somebody shares your post, say to Pinterest, you see that when it pops up, you've already populated this information here, and it's some generic, you see it's a nice tower size image. It pre-populates all the text that you want it to have in there that somebody else hits on, so it makes it really easy there, and you don't end up with this. Oftentimes with other sharing plugins, you get the first, let's say, 25 characters of your blog post, and oftentimes it's really not interesting at all, or the title and the first 20, and then this weird code, and here you get exactly what you want. I mean, look at this custom tweet for this article. It's so well optimized. It's got your @mention. It's got the URL, the short bit.ly link to the URL, so it even saves 9 characters for somebody to retweet and recomment. And then it's a nice engaging. Get your readers sharing your content the way you want it shared. Pick twit. Now watch what happens when you tweet that. Maybe I don't have a minute, but I'll pull that up while somebody else talks. If you guys have something else you want to add, I want to show them what this looked like on the Twitter side. Nick or Dustin want to add while I'm moving along here?
I could say one thing is, I always, whenever I tweet out anything from a site, I always customize it, and especially with my own stuff, I want it to have certain hashtags in it. I want it to have an @mention in it. So I really like that you can customize it.
And so, even more
here we go. You can see.
Go ahead, Jason.
Sorry, Ronnie. Yeah. Just really quickly. So you see, this is what a share that I just did. So not only did it share the content, but it also shared that, and it also has your image in there. And on the blog, Dustin's doing a really great job of giving you guys some tips on how to use this thing. We certainly don't have enough time in this 40 minutes to cover. But how do you add an image to a Twitter to get up? I mean, look at that. It takes up so much. What are you going to click on? Here's your Twitter stream. What are you going to click on? You're going to click on this thing with this big, beautiful, gorgeous image here, right? I mean, everything else is just text, right?
And here's what's exciting about that. It's not just you as a content creator who's sharing updates that are this optimized and visually catching to your stream. It's your readers doing it on your behalf because it's already pre-populated and set up so that there's no extra work for them to do. They just click the button and go, for those who don't like to spend a lot of time customizing.
Here's a comment from Carmen. Said, I like that it's attractive with the sexiest social sharing buttons. A real attention grabber right at the top of the list. Social media made sexy. I think we all needed that.
and let me add in just one real basic thing. The idea is a social plugin allows people when they're on your blog or your website to take what they found and they liked and make that really easy for them to share it into whatever social network platform that they want to do. Make it really simple for them to press a button and now it goes off to Facebook or to Google Plus or to Twitter or to Pinterest, etc. So that's the real purpose of the plugin.
Right, and that's also why we only support 5 networks. It's a paradox of choice. Like I've seen some plugins where there's like 32 different networks. I mean, they've just got everything on there. Well, most users, like you're talking about there, want something that's very, very simple. They're probably only active on 1 or 2 of the major networks. Maybe they're only on Facebook and Twitter or something like that. And so they just want a very simple option that just lets them share and go back to whatever they want to be doing.
Right, Christine, you had another comment you wanted to bring up there?
Yeah, a quick question from William Brock. He wants to make sure it passes the Google Mobile Friendly test for responsive design.
I assume it does because I have it on a couple client sites, and I put the client sites through that tester, and I've never gotten any red flags. But I'll go through and do some more manual testing to confirm that more granularly.
And let's just mention again, today only, it's 50% off your first year with the coupon code TNTBootcamp, all in lowercase, and that's at warfareplugins.com. And that kind of brings me up to Warfare Plugins kind of implies that there's more than one. So is there something else on the horizon? And I'm going to give props to Jason, who's probably the one who was thinking ahead.
Yeah, Jason, every time I have a conversation with him, whether we're talking about client projects or the plugin, he's got this one word that he says all the time. And this is like his buzzword. He's like, is this scalable? Is this scalable? So when we picked a company name, he wanted to make sure it was something that was separate from the plugin so that if we want to, we can grow more plugins. We only have one other plugin right now. It's very simple. It's the Snipply Buster. So right now it's just those two. But we don't have any specific plans for more plugins, but we get so many ideas from users that we will probably end up making more plugins someday in the future.
And look, for those of you that are using it, do us a favor and help us out, man. You know, I mean, if you've bought it, great. If you haven't, you're still on the fence. Okay, tell us what you would want, and we'll get it put together for you. We will take those suggestions. We will try to bundle it in. We have an awesome list of requests that people are asking for, and that's what helps us come up with the next great and wonderful plugin. Dustin's got some really great ideas about some character counters plugin that we're going to be working on, and then we're going to be talking a little bit about an easy way to crop and capture images and resize them for those people that aren't, Photoshop people, or who don't have an easy way to resize and manipulate images. We'll be sharing a little bit of information on that too.
So Leela's got a question here saying it may be a dumb one, but I think it's a good one. Each time she puts up a blog post, does she have to go through and set up the options for each and every time, or what's the setup for that?
Well, there's a series of fallbacks. So like if you want to fully optimize your post each time you post, a lot of our power users, that's what they do, like Peg Fitzpatrick and Rebecca Radice. They take the time to make sure everything is set up for each network, for each post when they create new posts. If you don't have an optimized tweet, then it falls back to a title and a link, so it acts more like a standard one. If you don't have anything optimized in there for your Pinterest or your Google+, all those networks, what they'll do when you go to share a link to their network is they'll basically scan the page. They'll try to make a best guess to what image is probably the most prominent image on the page. They'll pick that up and suggest that's the one you use to share with. They'll scrape, the first, 15 words or however many characters for a description and so on. So they'll always create some sort of a default value using the best guess that network can make, and so you can customize as much or as little as you want.
I want to address Ivana. Oh, you're pulling it up. Who pulled that up? Christine?
Christine.
Yeah. How does this interact with Jetpack? Will it automatically send out your posts? You may have mentioned this already. Yeah, you're asking two questions here that we want to address. One, it does interact with Jetpack wonderfully. We have a number of customers that are using it with Jetpack. Even though Jetpack has its own sharing plugin thing, just make sure that module is turned off. But it does work great with it. But not only Jetpack, but all plugins. So if you have an installation, we've had a couple people that have had 50, 60 plugins. And we went through and we made sure, is this thing breaking something on your site? Is it social warfare's problem? If it is, Nick is right on it to fix it and make sure that it works. And I don't think we have any plugins right now that it doesn't work with. I mean, I don't think that we have any. Do we, Nick?
There's only one that I'm tracking, and that's BuddyPress. And so I wrote into the plugin itself, it checks if it's a BuddyPress page, and it doesn't display on BuddyPress pages, but it'll display on the rest of your site. So it'll play nicely with that. But that's the only conflict I'm tracking.
And we are running up to the end of our show. I want to thank you guys for being here, and really appreciate you taking the time to answer everyone's questions. Keep asking questions in the comments, and I'm sure they'll go through and answer them for you. You have till the end of the day to sign up, 50% off using the coupon code TNTBootcamp, all lowercase. if you're watching this on YouTube later or tomorrow and miss your opportunity, don't worry. It's only $24 a year. It's still very affordable. I encourage you to give it a try. And you do have a money-back guarantee. If people aren't happy, they can get a refund. And you have an affiliate program as well, so really nothing to lose there. Ronnie, what do we have coming up next?
Oops.
That's okay. Oh, here we go. What was that, Kenneth?
It's from Kenneth. He's saying it's for a client of his. It's an awesome plugin and happy to help his clients share content that works everywhere. Great job, guys.
Yep, and Marie was happy. We answered her questions, I believe. She said she understands now, and she's definitely planning to sign up.
And then there's this one, just because Jeff C. is saying he wants to be sure everybody knows the plugin is sexy, not Dustin's dimples. Just got to add a little personality into our show here.
Oh, Jeff, always keeping me humble.
That hashtag is going to be trending by the end of the day.
So you guys can learn more at warfareplugins.com. Check out the blog and ask questions. And next month we have we're going to be interviewing Friends Plus Me. All right. Have a great day.
Christina, Ronnie, thanks for having us on here. You guys rock. Thanks so much.
You bet.
Thank you.
You're fantastic. Thanks, you guys.